David Lewis, partner at Clifford, is a specialist when it comes to mergers and acquisitions in the oil and gas sector. He and his team have a wealth of experience and have advised Glencore on its acquisition of Caracal Energy, a transaction worth $1.35 billion. He also helped Dominion Petroleum on its takeover by Ophir Energy. Well, he joins us now at the World Oil and Gas Week. Hello, David.
Hello.
Thanks for being with us today. Now, as I've mentioned, you've been involved in the sale of several oil and gas companies. Looking at the market now, with oil prices at multi-year lows, we've started to see an increase in M&A activity, especially in the large cap sphere. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think when prices are low, it creates an opportunity for mega caps to get together and put some pressure on them to do so, in fact, to try and make economies reorganise themselves to be more efficient. And large-scale M&A is an opportunity to do that and kind of hit the reset button in terms of operational organisation as much as anything else. And certainly, if the press is right in relation to BG and Shell, that's very much how Shell are proceeding to kind of rewire the business on both sides. I think it's more challenging though in the smaller to mid-cap space. I think management teams are still adjusting to lower price expectations, and it really takes a brave management team, a bold one I should say rather than brave, a bold one, to take the step and want to do some M&A at this time, and to also put aside their historic price expectations or value expectations and come around to the new modern world in terms of pricing.
But that may surprise a bit in the sense that you need partnerships, you need help in this environment, don't you? So what's stopping them exactly?
I think, as I said, it's people having to readjust to price expectations. It was above $100 a barrel for a long time. People got used to that. People are now having to get used to $50 or less in terms of price expectation. It was only last year, at the last year's Oil Council, it was $75 and everyone was thinking, when's it going to be back up to 100? So these things take time to moderate. And of course, if you've been looking at prices and value expectation based off $100 a barrel, you've got a number in your mind, and it's sometimes quite difficult to get over that psychologically when you need to make an exit or, as you say, partner up with someone else at a lower price expectation than you previously had.
And do you expect this low oil price environment to be the new normal?
Well, look, I mean, who knows where oil prices are going to go, but it's certainly, if you're listening to the commentators downstairs talking about oil price and in particular supply, there's plenty of supply, and although demand is still strong, supply is going to be the prevalent force in the market for the next year or so, and that probably means there aren't going to be a significant price rise in the next year, 18 months.
Okay, and what about M&A activity do you expect to pick up in the months or years to come?
Well, I'm quite optimistic in some respects for M&A activity, because I think people will get used to the new lower price environment, and also as time goes on they'll find it harder and harder to continue to plough their own path. They may find themselves in a better situation if they're part of a larger group. And so, for example, this year we were helping Salamander in their exit to Ophir Energy, creating, in my view, a better balanced group with assets in both Southeast Asia and Africa, with a mix of exploration and production, which I think is going to benefit both sets of shareholders. Okay,
and what makes a company an ideal acquisition target?
Well, in an ideal world, you'd like depending on, it's really very much for the acquirer to decide what they're looking for. Let's take the Ophir example. I think they were looking for production. Salamander had some production. It also had some step-out exploration. It had some growth market potential in terms of moving the focus away from Africa and into Southeast Asia, where Ophir had already set up shop and was doing some work. So it's got to kind of fit with your existing portfolio. I think that having assets which have got potential upside could be something that some of the majors are looking for, in terms of, if you look at what Maersk has done just very recently with Africa Oil, they have taken an asset portfolio which has got lots of development potential. They have a much better balance sheet to be able to do that, and so they are trying to kind of push that through, hopefully be able to push that deal through.
What would you say are the big themes currently in the oil and gas industry?
Well, I think obviously the oil price environment is a critical factor, and that's kind of affecting everything, including people looking at their historic contracts with governments, with contractors, making difficult decisions to cut capex, to reduce headcount, and of course, obviously considering mergers and acquisitions opportunities when they arise. But I think perhaps a more bigger scale of concern is the geopolitical environment, and we're seeing all kinds of geopolitical events impacting on the oil price. We've got the Saudi government deciding not to reduce output. That's primarily had a massive effect on the oil price. Then you've got sanctions impacting on the Russia production, and also releasing, or hopefully going to be releasing Iran from sanctions very soon, which will create opportunities for that production to come onto market, and also for operators to go in country, and perhaps that's a new opportunity there.
Okay, so let's talk about your involvement with the Oil and Gas Council events, because you've been coming here for a few years, and when the oil price was much healthier, let's face it. What's the benefit of coming to an event like this?
I think there are a number of benefits. I think one of them is to kind of get a really good feel for what everybody else in the market is thinking and believing in relation to the oil price environment, the environment for M&A, just to get a real good finger on the pulse for what's going on in the industry. And you can't beat meeting people in the industry for that and hearing what they've got to say. And the panels are normally very informative, very informal, which allows people to talk freely, not so much of a set-piece environment, which I think is great. You also have plenty of opportunity for networking, and you bump into people having coffee, people who you wouldn't necessarily ordinarily meet in business life, particularly as a lawyer, people in the industry side who've got a very interesting perspective on how things are going to develop. So that's great. And then just a very parochial benefit to an organisation like mine is that we're a global organisation, and because the Oil and Gas Council is also global and offers us opportunities in Asia and Africa and also Latin America, we've been able to use that to kind of help us organise ourselves internally.
Okay, well, David, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
David Lewis, partner at Clifford Chance.